perspective, they wanted a quick win. They thought that they could do a quick replay of the USMCA negotiation and that President Trump would then gain momentum and then be able to move on to other players. The area that they sort of miscalculated is that they didn't realize countries have to defend themselves. And in the case of Canada in particular, you had a ruling party that was on the verge of a total wipeout. They had nothing to lose. So this was a godsend for them to have Trump come in and apply these tariffs or threaten these tariffs. They then got to look tough and defend their country. So he walked right into retaliation. And that's happening with Mexico as well, even though ultimately neither Canada nor Mexico can engage in a long trade war with the United States. They're way too exposed to the U.S. economy. So everyone is going to eventually wrap this up. I think, unfortunately for Canada, probably after the election is when we're more likely to see it wrap up. But I do think you're correct that strategically what President Trump is trying to do, or what his administration is trying to do, is ultimately galvanize North America and then galvanize U.S. alliances for a much longer competition with China.
Matt, April the 2nd and reciprocal tariffs. Does Trump plow on or back off?
Well, what we've seen is sort of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But in general, remember the midterm election is next year, and it's late next year. And as of now, the U.S. economy is still sort of holding up. It's resilient. Unemployment is low. Now, I have my worries about the U.S. economy, and I think many of us do. And certainly this week in the markets, we're seeing a recession risk get a little bit more realistic. But still, the administration has a moment in the first half of this year, especially, to drive this trade assault. Later, especially next year, they lose the ability to do that. They don't want to be dealing with higher prices when members of Congress go back to their home districts. They want to be saying, well, look, we negotiated these great new trade deals and they're really helpful for American workers or creating jobs and higher incomes. So 2025 is really a year where they can try to prosecute the trade war. 2026, they're going to have to neutralize it and or achieve deals. And in some cases, like with Canada and Mexico, they really want to get those deals wrapped up even sooner.
Matt, the perception is that President Trump is only going to listen to the financial markets. That's going to be the ultimate arbiter to determine just how hard he pushes. So after this market meltdown, is that going to make him change his stance or moderate his position?
Well, you know, he wouldn't be doing a trade war at all if he were really a slave to the stock market. I think we have to remember that. And remember what happened back in 2018, where we end up with basically a 19% drawdown in the S&P 500 because he was prosecuting a trade war. Now, at that time, the Fed was raising rates rather than lowering rates. But this time the Fed may have to pause and